My husband, 34, and I, 32 female, have been married for 6 years. 2 months ago, I stopped him from going on a bachelor's trip with his long-term school friends. I was okay with this and was kind of looking forward to him having fun until I learned he hid the fact that they would be doing a lot of adult-themed activities, think happy end massages, as part of their itinerary. It caused a huge fight, as we've always maintained that this is a deal breaker for me, and the fact that he hid it from me made it worse. He argued that he only did it because of my tendency to overreact. Of course he wouldn't engage in those activities, but that didn't mean he couldn't go. I would have been fine with him going if he had told me about their itinerary and trusted that he would keep away. What he did broke my trust, and the only way I could see him earning it back is if he voluntarily told his friends that he couldn't come, which he did. At the time, he looked really apologetic and we made up. He took me shopping and all was good. I bought some fashionable outfits and wanted us to wear them in summer. Where we live, it was still a little cold, and I didn't get to immediately dress up in the clothes I had just bought. Also, most of my summer clothes had shrunk in the washer, so I practically only had my oversized casuals and the clothes that I had just bought. A few weeks later, it starts to get warmer, and as I slip into my new dress, it feels tight. I'm confused. I just tried them on in the store, and I'm a size 14, as the label on the dress said. So no, I didn't get the wrong dress from the store. Then another dress was tight, same with pants and other tops. I start feeling absolutely crazy. Had I just put on so much weight in a few weeks that my new dresses didn't even fit? I've always been a bit sensitive about how my body looks, and I remember telling my husband how excited I was about these new clothes, which looked so flattering on me. I felt so good in all of them, and now they look so hideous on me. I start crying on the floor. I was too embarrassed to tell my husband this. I thought he must have noticed if I'd put on weight. I was a wreck. I was feeling crazy for a few weeks now. Even the clothes that I had before felt tighter. I don't know if it was a placebo or really, but it didn't help. A few days ago, during dinner, my husband said he wanted to confess something. He was snickering while saying this, and what he said absolutely crushed me. He said that while I was gone to see my sister, who just had a baby, for a week, he had secretly taken all my outfits that he knew I routinely wore and given them to the local tailor to make them a size or two smaller. He said he paid him generously to stitch things faster. He said sorry, but it felt like a funny payback for what I had done, which stopped him from going on a trip. I said that wasn't funny, and he made me feel crazy. I was crying and screaming at this point. He severed my sense of self and made me feel ugly. Eventually, I tried to be okay, but I was not. I'm still reeling from what he did as petty revenge. It's been some time since he confessed. I'm struggling with what he just did. I want to forgive him. I never knew how resentful he was of me about that trip. Maybe it's my fault. I should have been more trusting. I knew he would never cheat. In my heart, I knew he would keep away. And from his point of view, his petty revenge on me probably feels deserved. I would be mad too if he stopped me from doing something I was looking forward to doing. Am I the idiot for struggling to forgive my husband for his petty revenge on me? Not the idiot. So let me clarify. Your husband lies and enjoys watching you suffer. That's neither loving nor funny. You deserve better. That was a calculated, time-consuming, and expensive act meant to hurt you where he knew you were the most vulnerable and would hurt you the most. No excuse for that kind of cruelty, regardless of the reason. For real, he spent time and lots of money pulling this prank, all because you didn't want him going on a bachelor's trip that involved strip clubs and happy massages? What the heck? This guy and his friends are really disgusting, and I'd be rethinking this whole marriage. Also, when he took her shopping, her statement, at the time he looked really apologetic and we made up. He took me shopping, when in reality, he was setting her up. He's not acting apologetic. He was sniggering. OP, I know husbands can be really convincing, but he was absolutely going to cheat on you. And if he was planning a trip like that, Chances are he's already done plenty of stuff like that in the past. Nobody plans to go on a trip with a bunch of guys that's full of strippers and happy endings, but they're just going to sit it out like a good little boy in the corner while all their friends indulge? No way. Any man who loved his wife would not be going on a trip like this. I, 25 female, am getting married to my fiance, 26 male, next year. He's my stepsister Chloe's ex-boyfriend. I know I'll get flamed for that, but I won't even defend it. But the context is that Chloe and my fiance got together when they were 16 and dated for a few weeks. He broke up with her and asked me out. I was a teen then. We've been together ever since. I could throw out a million excuses or mitigating factors, but I won't. It just boils down to I cared more about him than I cared about Chloe. We were never close or considered each other family. I apologized to Chloe, and in the years before Chloe moved out, I never brought my fiance to our house. I never expected Chloe to forgive me. I probably wouldn't have if I were her. Chloe never spoke to me again beyond a greeting if we were in the same space. My fiance and I moved away at 18, so apart from Christmas, I never really see Chloe anymore. However, I did send her a courtesy invite to the wedding because I knew it meant a lot to my stepdad that she be invited. I never expected her to come, though I would have been fine if she had. I just put it out there. Instead, I get a message on Instagram from Chloe, reaming me out for inviting her because apparently I'm pressuring her to come. I said there's no obligation on her side, but she disagreed, saying that now I've put myself in the position to be the bigger person. She looks bad if she doesn't come. My stepdad and his family have been wanting her to drop the grudge for years, and it's caused issues. I don't know what else I could have done. My friend said it was harsh to invite her, but I think not inviting her would have been beyond rude, and it would have hurt my stepdad who's contributing a lot of money to the wedding. I'm not saying Chloe has to come or not come, but I don't think I'm the idiot for reaching out and at least giving her the option considering her siblings, cousin, and dad will be there. Not the idiot. They dated for a few weeks in high school 10 years ago? No reasonable adult would even consider that person an ex in the context of the person getting married. She needs to get over it. And to me, Chloe clearly knows it too. The fact that she says you put yourself into a position to be the bigger person indicates to me that she knows this grudge is ridiculous. Chloe could have been a bigger person by declining the invitation in an unexpectedly civil, even kind manner. She did the opposite. Nuts to her, McGillicuddy. OP, I think you did all you could and you gave her the option not to come. But Chloe's also right. She decided to go no or limited contact for whatever her reasons were. Even though an invitation is not a summons, it does show that you aren't accepting that she doesn't want a relationship with you, even though it's not your intent. She doesn't want to go, so either you didn't invite her and you look bad to your stepfather, or you invited her and she looks bad for declining. You made the choice of the latter. It may have just been that she didn't want a stepsister, didn't want her dad remarried, and just used this as an easy excuse. Your parents want a perfect blended nuclear family where everyone gets along, so she's had a decade of peer pressure to get on board for appearances to make them happy. You are the idiot. Chloe's made it clear she wants nothing to do with you, but apparently having Daddy Bucks to pay for your wedding is more important than respecting what Chloe wants. I, a 30-year-old female, am currently staying with my sister, 32, her husband, 35, and their two daughters, Amber Tween and Rosie, pre-tween, as my company put me on a temporary secondment near where they live. I consider myself a feminine woman. I love dresses, makeup, high heels, etc. However, I do not shave my legs, not for any particular reason. I don't do it to make a statement or to fight the patriarchy or anything like that. My sister and I have thick, dark leg hair. Dad's side of the family is Arabic, so our mother, who is white English, insisted we started shaving as soon as the hair started growing. But it's always felt like something I had to do rather than wanted to do. So I stopped when I was about 16 or 17. Amber and I have bonded over fashion. She loves my dresses and tries on my heels, and I'm teaching her my more creative makeup styles. I was seeing someone and went for dinner with him last night. It's warm here, so I wore a dress with my legs bare. Amber always comes to look at my outfits before I go out. She knows I don't shave, but has never brought it up before. However, she's recently started shaving herself. When she came, she asked me why I did my hair and makeup and dressed up but didn't shave. She said she thought shaving was part of the whole dress up and get ready routine for girls. I just shrugged and said there's more than one way to be a girly girl. My date went well, but my sister was waiting for me when I got home. She said I've been putting ideas in her daughter's head, and that now Amber's asking if it's okay if she stops shaving. She warned me that if I try to influence her daughter, I would be kicked out. I don't think I did anything wrong. I didn't even say that Amber shouldn't shave. All I said was that it's a person's individual choice, whether they do it or not, and that it wouldn't make her any more or less feminine. Am I the idiot for influencing my niece into bad habits? Not the idiot. I can't get past the idea that anyone thinks a tween child needs to shave her legs. Your sister needs to chill a bit. Her daughter's growing up and finding herself. Your niece asked a question, and you answered honestly. Encourage them to talk. She's starting puberty, and she'll be going through other changes soon enough. She should feel comfortable talking to mom about things without judgment. She's a tween, and her mother's making her shave her legs? Oh my God, I didn't even notice my niece's age. I feel like your sister's attitude is a bit neurotic. Is shaving legs really that significant? If she made that statement and stormed off dramatically, might be worth sitting down and talking it through to see what the issue is. Sounds like the issue was mom because she said they were forced to shave as kids. Sis just continued the process with her kids. It's a cycle of imposing archaic Western beauty standards. Body hair is such a natural thing. We as a culture have a weird obsession with it being undesirable for women only. I, female 23, have 2 children with my husband, a toddler son and an infant daughter. This argument began this Sunday, but apparently my husband has been harboring this resentment for a while. So I'm definitely a night owl, while my husband is not. He gets up every day, including weekends, at 6:30 a.m. On weekends, I prefer to sleep in until 9 or 10. Recently, my son has been asking to cuddle with me in the morning when my husband gets him up at 8. We usually sleep in there together for about an hour or two. This has been going on for basically since my daughter was born. I think it's because he felt a little sad about the new baby, so of course I let him. I would have let him anyway, but especially since the baby. I never knew my husband felt some way about this until this Sunday when I woke up and he brought him there. I said out loud, "Good morning, baby, coming to cuddle?" And he said, "Yes, with mommy." I said, "Yeah, baby, daddy's up already. Want to lay on his side?" My husband snapped then and there. He was like, "Stop babying him like that. You're making him a Velcro baby." I was like, "Whoa, chill." My husband just threw his hands up and left. Later that day, he told me that he absolutely hated this routine and felt like we were babying our son because of the baby. He also says I'm encouraging weird behavior because my son sleeps with his head on my chest, and my husband thinks that this is him trying to copy breastfeeding the baby. I was like, oh my God, you're reading way too much into this. He absolutely disagreed and asked me to stop. Am I the idiot? Time to toughen up a toddler? What the heck? Not the idiot. The little man is barely out of diapers. That is a developmentally healthy behavior. Tell your husband to stop being such an alpha douche. Kids are only little for so long, growing up way too fast. It won't be long before he doesn't want to cuddle with you anymore. Yeah, toddlers are still very little. They thrive on routine. They thrive on affection and support. He's not old enough yet to meet OP's husband's expectations. They won't be little forever. Babying is when they start expressing their independence and you don't let them and make them feel anxious about it. That's what prevents children from being strong. But this kid isn't old enough yet to be held back from anything. They're still trying to understand what the world is like. I get the vibe that the husband wants a cuddle and affection and to be held like the son. And if he wasn't too proud to ask, it would obviously be romantic for them or lead to something intimate, so he can't separate the two in his head. So instead, he's jealous and bitter and trying to make her uncomfortable so she stops doing it. Dude, just ask your wife to hold you and stop being the antagonist in your son's life. My sister, 30s, is a social worker. My husband and I, 30s, are foster parents. We're currently long-term foster parents and possibly foster to adopt for biological siblings. The siblings lost their sole parent a couple of years ago. They have half-siblings from said parent who are much older, now adults. Our foster kids miss their half-siblings and have craved a relationship with them, but the half-siblings have chosen not to have contact. From the limited info we know about the foster kids' lives before they came to live with us, any visits that they have while the half-siblings were minors had to be forced on the older kids who did not wish to keep contact. This has been extremely difficult for our foster children. We've advocated for them to be in therapy, which luckily was approved, and they go once a week. But they've often asked about and bring up their half-siblings and beg us to set up a time for them to see them. My sister's aware of this and has spoken to my husband and me 3 different times about how we need to do more to ensure this relationship between the siblings. We've told her it's not possible. She told us that we're failing our foster kids. She said we needed to find out the information on these half-siblings and fight for contact. She told us we could bring it to court if we needed to. I reminded her that's not something we can do. She told me the kids would never see us as parents or want to be in our family if we kept them from their siblings. And then she went on about how important sibling relationships are and brought up the fact that she's a social worker and she knows how these things work better than anyone in the family. I told her that just because she's a social worker, it doesn't mean she always knows what's best for foster kids. I also told her that she has no control over adult decisions, which is something she should know as a social worker. She told me I should take her professional advice and stop invalidating her profession and experience like I did there. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You and your husband probably know the situation most intimately of everyone presently involved, and you still come to the conclusion that trying to force a relationship with the half-siblings is going to end badly. As a social worker, your sister should know it's not one size fits all with broken families, and individual cases have individual nuances that need to be handled on a case-by-case basis. She's got a romanticized view of families sticking together. Whether or not she's aware of the particulars of this case, she needs to trust your judgment. How could OP possibly force a relationship? Police arrest the other siblings, handcuff them, and force them to sit in a room where they must interact with the kids? Or are you implying that OP can legally use blackmail or bribes or force the others to interact with kids against their will? How would OP be able to force a relationship with the adult half-siblings? Please ask the sister to explain this in detail. That's probably already been handled. The adult siblings would have received info, calls, and info on court dates to gauge their legal interest as next of kin. Not interested. Nothing else they can do. When the kids turn 18, they can pursue the sibs all they want. Hang in there, Mama Bear. You understand the situation better than your sister because you're actually in it.